Hi all, so this is going to be a review of the new Legion 5 Pro from Lenovo 2021 edition. First off, a few words about myself. I'm not a professional reviewer, I'm just a user. Was very interested in buying this laptop, couldn't find a lot of information online since it was out only in Singapore. And got lucky and found one on the Lenovo website here in Ireland. I paid 1,540 euros delivered, which is pretty cheap for standards here for a laptop like this. So I thought, I could post some information and share with people to help them decide one way or the other whether they want to buy this laptop or rather opt for something else. So first off, some specs quickly. So this is 16 inches laptop. Resolution is 2560 by 1600, so it's 1600p monitor display. It has a refresh rate of 165 Hz. It has G-Sync. It has HDR. It is rated at 500 nits, although I couldn't verify that. I don't have the tools to do that. And then CPU is an AMD 5800H. The GPU is NVIDIA RTX 3070, 8 gigabytes, rated for 140 watts maximum, including boost. Although I must say that when testing, when playing with hardware info enabled monitoring, I saw often the GPU drawing more than 150 watts, and once I even saw it above 180, which is weird. Probably there's something wrong with the monitoring in that case. But yeah, so moving on, we have 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. Now, moving on to pluses and minuses. So on the pluses, so the screen, as I mentioned, really the highlight of this laptop. Very bright screen, high refresh rate, HDR, G-Sync, it's beauty. I really love it. Now, of course, because of the aspect ratio, you can see that, for instance, when playing this video, which is 16:9, you get two black bars, one at the bottom, one on the top, so reducing effectively the screen real estate here. But when gaming, when testing the games I tested, I couldn't see black bars. Usually the games, when you use a non-native, unless you want to play in window mode, when using full screen and selecting a non-native aspect ratio resolution, so for instance 1440p or 1080p, the image gets stretched, which is not ideal, of course, because then everything looks thinner and taller, I guess. So I found, of course, all the games I tested had the native resolution as an option, and I tested about probably over a dozen games. Also some old ones like StarCraft 2 or Diablo 3. And then you have the option of using other resolutions at 16:10, so like 1920 by 1200 instead of 1080p, for instance. So more on that when you'll see the results of the benchmarks, the difference that makes. Performance, very solid. I think it's on the top end of the 3070 for a notebook, of course. And also the CPU performs very well. Thermals, absolutely very, very good. Now, I live in Ireland. Room temperature when I use this laptop probably rarely exceeds 20 degrees Celsius, and very often below that. But I never saw it going above 72 degrees, the GPU. And While although in some videos I saw it going to 77, 78, I think. Probably these were shot in Singapore, where of course much warmer climate, so that's to be expected to have higher temperatures. And most, also the GPU, the GPU when stress testing it, I saw it going to 73 degrees Celsius. Mostly, as you can see in the video, stays even below 70. While the CPU went up to 87 degrees when stress testing it. Now, also thermals here on the surface, very good in the ASD area. I saw about 38, 39 degrees when stress testing, and I think the hottest spot was around here at 48 degrees Celsius, I think. But otherwise, everywhere else was in the high 30s, low 40s. So you don't get any like hot spot that you cannot use the keyboard for, even after a long gaming session. Also, the vents on the side, they mostly blow cold air or slightly warm air, but not hot. Most of the hot air comes from the back, so that's not annoying, the fact that you have two vents on the sides. Keyboard is pretty good. Good travel. I love the fact that there's a numerical keypad. I love the port locations, mostly on the back, and just USB-C and a headphone jack here, and a standard USB and the shutter for the camera, so to disable from hardware the webcam. So only those are on the sides, but you know, most of the HDMI and other USBs and power, etc., everything is on the back. The design, I like the design. It's top, so the back of the screen is metal and the bottom is also metal, while this is plastic, at least as far as I can tell. Another plus is that it's easy to upgrade. Once you remove the back panel, which has 10 screws, that's probably the most annoying part about removing the back panel. Also, you know, being careful about the plastic vents here on the side. You have easy to access M2 slots. There are two. One that is occupied by the 1 terabyte SSD, and another one which is free, which I used and upgraded with the additional SSD. By the way, which, you know, that didn't impact anything performance-wise, you know, in terms of power availability or PCIe ports available. So it's all fine. You know, I was wondering about that. And then you have also, of course, 2 slots for the RAM, which is occupied by 2 8 gigs modules, of course, so you can upgrade up to 32 gigs. And then you can also upgrade or replace the Wi-Fi module if you want. Price, as I mentioned, very good. I didn't expect to find something, you know, like with these specs at that price, especially, you know, both with the GPU and the screen like these at that price. Noise, also at full speed, the fans are not that noisy, and it's not an annoying noise, so that's, you know, the noise is not an issue at all. Now, on the negative sides, or minuses, let's say, so there is no SD card reader for those who need one. The webcam, it's just mediocre, standard HD webcam that you find in many laptops. Nothing special about it, basically. I really don't like the enter key, the fact that there's this key next to the enter key, which makes it appear like it's one key, but it's not, and so I sometimes ended up pressing this by mistake. The backlighting is just basic, so no RGB lighting. That's probably reserved for the Legion 7. Again, I don't mind, but I know some do, so I'm just mentioning it. Of course, the 16 by 10 aspect ratio might not be for everyone. It's great for productivity. I found it great also for gaming, because you know, you can find that resolution in all games nowadays. The laptop is a bit heavy. If you see my unboxing, it's 2.6 kilos just the laptop, plus 1.1 kilo if you take into account the big adapter and the cable and the plug, of course. By the way, the adapter also doesn't warm up. I mean, doesn't get hot after long usage. So it's also a plus, by the way. Then the battery life, nothing to sing about. So it's I tested it with 50% brightness, running a YouTube video and having a browser refreshing regularly in the background. And the laptop lasted 6 hours and 10 minutes before it hibernated at 5% battery left. Also, one thing I do not like is Lenovo Vantage, or rather, there's nothing wrong with it, but very limited options in terms of tweaking. I don't see huge difference in behavior between the performance mode and balance mode. Balance mode is supposed to optimize the usage of GPU and CPU based on the game you're playing. Maybe they don't have enough data to do that yet. But yeah, not a major difference in behaviors in my limited experience so far. So with all my talking, I completely forgot to show you the screen. Full screen, actually using the whole screen real estate. And I took also the opportunity to run a benchmark a few times in a row to warm up the computer and show you the temperatures live, kinda. And possibly also the noise of the fan, since we're at, like 50 centimeters away at most. I'll shut up for a second so you can hear. I think it can get louder than this, but not really frequently. Anyway, I'll show you also some temperatures since we're here. So here, 35. Area, palm rest, very cold, 28. 26, yes, very cold. This is all the bottom, and this should be the hottest spot, this area, on the key. Yeah, I think I saw it go up to 46 or something. So, yeah. Anyway, as you can see, it doesn't get very hot. I think it can get like 3-4 degrees hotter than this. So. Also earlier we were looking at a video like this. I just want to show you the difference from what we were looking at earlier. So if I exit, this is the total screen. Now let's move on to some benchmarks I performed offline. So we started with Gear Tactics, not very demanding game. So I just run a couple of benchmarks at 1600p and 1200p at the Ultra preset with HDR off. As you can see, the game is perfectly playable, both resolutions, so at the highest setting, so I'll go with the 600p, of course. I then tested Shadow of the Tomb Raider at the highest quality and high quality presets. As you can see, the game is perfectly playable, also at 600p at 89 frames per second, and if you want like a even smoother experience, you can lower the settings to high quality or go to 1200p. I tested Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 3 different quality presets, ultra high, very high, and high quality, at the 4 different resolutions. So as you can see, I would suggest playing either very high quality or high quality at 1600p or the ultra high quality probably at 1200p, possibly to have a very smooth experience with this game. For Immortals Phoenix Rising, don't be fooled by the results here and the averages, because although I didn't record the lowest the benchmark went to, I remember it going very low in the high 20s, low 30s, ultra high quality and very high quality, both at 1600p and 1440p. So I would suggest going at high quality at 1200p to have a very smooth and consistent experience in this game. For Far Cry 5, I tried only two quality presets, ultra and high, because I got excellent results already at these ones, and also tried with ultra preset and high resolution textures, which didn't significantly change the results. Here we also have the minimum FPS recorded during the benchmark, and already at the max settings, ultra preset plus high resolution texture, you have, at the lowest it went to 68 frame per second. For this game, just one word of warning. I just tested this game with the newest drivers, and the benchmark gave me much worse results than what I'm showing here. So probably there's something to do with the new drivers that impacts this particular game. While another test I ran on a different game, I didn't see any difference, like 1% difference, so in the margin of error, really. I tested Borderlands 3 at two quality presets, the highest, badass quality and ultra quality, both in DirectX 11 and DirectX 12. I mean, ideally, you can play the game at max resolution and ultra quality for a smooth experience. And it's interesting that you can see here the results being better on higher resolution in DirectX 11 and in DirectX 12, quite the opposite. It performs better on lower resolutions. I usually play this game with some friends at max settings, max resolution, with no issue whatsoever. By the way, shout out to my friends, Axovar, Grammar, and Goodwin. If you see them online in any game, just shoot them for me. Thanks. And then the last game I tested was Watch Dogs Legion. This was quite hard to test because the benchmark is rather inconsistent. Every time you run it, there's a slightly different animation with different characters or different things happening. So I got very inconsistent results and I had to run it multiple times. But because of that, I ran multiple iterations with different settings, as you can see. I tried most ultra quality, but with texture resolution set at high because 8 gigs were not enough to have them set at ultra. Then at high quality and very high quality and medium quality, as you can see here. I'd say if you want to play at max resolution, high quality or medium quality are your best bets. Otherwise, you would have to lower resolutions and play at 1200p possibly. Again, you can see that there's a lot of inconsistencies, especially when going at lower resolutions. I didn't see like significantly better results, especially at 1080p. In some cases, I had to run multiple times the benchmark because I got worse results at 1080p than I got at 1200p, which was bizarre. I also tested the game with different settings using DLSS, which provides an slight increase in performance, although limited, and with ray trace reflections, which instead has a very significant impact on performance, even at the lowest setting, which is medium, and with DLSS set at performance. So I would suggest not using RTX on this game. It really impacts performance significantly. You can probably play the game at a high, very high preset with DLSS, balance or performance. Finally, some synthetic benchmark results. So on 3D Mark times Spy, that's the best results I got across different runs, although without any tinkering, any overclocking, or anything else. For Firestrike and Cinebench R23, I only ran the test once. In fact, Cinebench, I took the result from my video. I posted with some other synthetic benchmark results. So one thing I forgot to mention is that all these tests were performed with the performance mode in Lenovo Vantage. Although, as I believe I mentioned, I didn't see any significant difference with the balance mode instead of a performance mode when I ran some tests with balance mode as well. And final words. First, on the laptop itself, as you probably gathered, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with the performance, with the thermals, with the features. I know people might have different opinions, and that's, of course, obviously fine. So I just hope I'm helping people make an informed decision for buying your next laptop. About the channel, I'll try to post more videos, different games, performance, maybe also some more benchmarks if I find the time. Please keep asking for specific games. If I have access to these, I will try to post a video showing the performance. Again, I remind you that when I record the video and I monitor the performance, this has an impact on performance, so you can expect better results in real life. That's it for now, and goodbye. Thank you.